My grandfather was an interesting man who lived in interesting times. From his shop on Christopher Street in Greenwich Village, New York City, he not only cared for the electrical contracting needs of the neighborhood and far beyond, but when you dared to venture deep into the depths of that darkened shop filled with so many parts and pieces, you would come to a back wall with a curtain drawn to conceal it. Pull back the curtain, and there were about 100 or so mailboxes, the type with a window on each door so you could peer into the box to see if there were any contents. Each one of these mailboxes had a lock, and each lock fit only a key made just for it. Now, at first glance, it appeared to be just another city apartment mailbox center where people got things like bills, junk, greeting cards, stuff like that. However, these mailboxes were filled on occasion with greetings of a different type. Every few weeks, there would be an envelope placed into certain mailboxes. No address, no name, just an envelope. Every now and then, somebody would access the mailboxes via a very discreet back door, take out the package, and walk out, rarely saying a word. You see, these mailboxes were a drop point for money, payoffs. Most of them not the type one talks about. And the mailboxes were there because my grandfather had long ago been marked as a good friend by certain people, the ones who relied on absolute trust and silence. Back in the old days, they used to call it omerta, an Italian word meaning code of silence. Back then, you did favors for certain people, and they often responded in kind. Not all favors were dangerous or had ill intent. Some were harmless, which in one sense you could say about these envelopes. Though perhaps, and I can only speculate, some of that money may have been for matters of a deeply nefarious nature. Now, I once asked my grandfather how it was that for so long, so many years, no one knew about the wall, as everybody called it. He said, "Edward, plenty of people know about it, but they have the good sense to shut their mouths, because if they were to open their yap," to this day still a great word for big mouth, "they would expose themselves and everything they were trying to hide, and maybe failing to shut up would hurt a lot of other people in the process." I think of that story now in the case of LSU basketball coach Kim Mulkey and her bellowing about taking legal action against the Washington Post for an overdue investigation of her background, which she calls a hit piece. Hey, remember, that's what a lot of people said when Woodward and Bernstein got on the trail of something called Watergate, a hit piece. Mulkey's bully pulpit tactics are indicative of her style on and off the court. She also failed to note she's refused to be part of the story for some time, which is an easy indicator of having something to hide. It should also be noted that I'll wager Jeff Bezos and the Post folks are thrilled with all the advanced publicity that will sell a lot of subscriptions. See, there's a lot more to this story to come, but for the moment, a hearty round of laughter aimed at Mulkey, her veiled and hollow threats, and the bullseye she's painted on her forehead and that of LSU. This is what happens when you fail to just use the key as instructed and keep your mouth shut when you absolutely have something to hide. Grandpa would say, as he did many times, arrogance is the downfall of the inherently dumb. Hey, it wasn't the fanciest of sayings, but he was a simple man. Some people just can't keep their yap shut, can they? I'm Ed Berliner, speaking of everything.